And this morning we'll be looking at building self-confidence, strategies for developing a positive self-imagery. Self-confidence is something that is very important and can affect you in so many ways. And to have this conversation, we're joined by our guest in person of Ambassador Richard Solomon. Good morning and thank you for joining us today. Are
Good
you?
morning and thank you for having me once again.
Yes,
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
thank you for joining us once
Thank
again.
you very much.
Straight to
I'm
the
also good.
straight to the conversation of the day. You know, one of the major conflicts we have is self-confidence and self-esteem. So many times you hear self-confidence and you feel like, okay, they're talking about self-esteem, but a lot of people have said they're different. So, as an expert in this field, bring us up to speed. What is the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem? Breaking down what both of them actually mean.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, let me appreciate you, for doing something concise. This is a topic that, resonates deeply within the fabric of our society. It is something that has been troubling a lot of people for time being, and I'll thank you for doing that. So going straight to your question, the line of dichotomy between what self-confidence is and what self-esteem is. Self-confidence, simply put, in my own understanding, is your ability to believe in yourself, the ability to believe in your capabilities and your ability. Self-confidence is the ability to have that confidence in yourself. The fact that, okay, you have been able to know that, okay, I can do this, I will do this, I believe in myself.
Yeah.
That is what we mean by self-confidence. While self-esteem, on the other hand, there's a thin line between self-confidence and self-esteem. And the thin line is self-esteem, on the other hand, is deals with the way you carry yourself. It deals with the way you think of yourself. But self-confidence is that which I think comes before self-esteem. Self-confidence is personal to us. It deals with you knowing that, oh, you believe in your potentials, you believe in your capabilities. While self-esteem, on the other hand, deals with the way you carry yourself, simply put.
Right. So, as it stands, both of them are quite interwoven, and they work vice versa. Now, one of the things that we've realized over the years is so many people that have problem with self-esteem and self-confidence started from when they were very little. We've heard people say, okay, I was talked down on a lot. I don't have my confidence anymore. I was criticized a lot when I was a child. And you see that by the time they're growing up, this affects how they live their life, the way they see themselves, and the results that they get. So how do you navigate through, or what are some of the things that someone that has suffered from low self-esteem, not having self-confidence because of certain experiences they encountered as a child up until their teenage years, what are some of the things that that person can do to get back on track, building their self-esteem and their self-confidence to navigate through life?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I think for the sake of viewers or people who are listening to me at this very moment, I think one of those things that we must correct in our society is the attitudinal grandeur. What do I mean by attitudinal grandeur? I mean the fact that some people or some persons in our society try as much as possible, to segregate, to put some people behind. We must try as much as possible as humans, as citizens, to promote self-confidence, to promote self-esteem, to try as much as possible to help people. When you see people who are suffering from self-esteem or low self-esteem, so to put, you try as much as possible to bring them out of that, disheartening situation. When you cannot help somebody, do not be a source of their problem. You should not add to the problem of people. That, by the way. Now, going straight to your question, people who have suffered from low self-esteem right from when they were growing up till today, and how do they navigate, or how would they navigate through that particular situation? Number one, I think the first thing that we need to prioritize, or the first thing that person needs to do, is to challenge your self-talk. What do I mean by challenging your self-talk? Challenging your self-talk means sometimes when you sit down, there's a self-talk, there's a self-thought and a self-talk. The self-thought and the self-talk is what comes to your mind about yourself personally. Those thoughts comes to your mind and tell you cannot do it. Oh, you are too small for this, you cannot achieve this. Oh, because of what the society has put upon you, you get to think of yourself negatively. So the first point of action as a person who is suffering from low self-esteem is yourself. You are your biggest problem. So if you as a person, you have overcome that situation of you trying to believe in yourself, Once you believe in yourself, once you have that ability to think that you are a great person, once you have that courage enough to think that I personally, as a person, I can do this particular thing, believe me, there's nothing that the society can put on you that would be big enough to spoil you or to make you think low of yourself. First, that is the first point. Another thing that you have to do as a person is what? You embrace growth. Embrace growth in the sense that you learn, okay, those things that they have said about you, those things that they have talked about in the society, you come to that reality. Are these things true about myself? We cannot be perfect as human beings, but you come to the practical realization that, okay, let me correct these things about myself if they are true. Some people do not like criticism, but
Yeah.
myself as a person, I believe that correction is not a rejection. So people would say things. The society will put you in a situation wherein you blame yourself. Think about those things. Have a reflection about those things that you have said. Have a reflection on those things happening around you. What is this thing? Is it possible I correct this if it is not actually right? Correct it if it is possible. Those are, we believe generally that roses are beautiful. Fine, roses are beautiful. But when you go to the farm, you realize that some roses have blemishes. You realize that some roses are not even, they are uneven in size. However, does not mean that these roses are not beautiful. We as persons, the society can mount pressure on us. The society can make you believe you are not fit, you are not proper, you are not a good person. But surround yourself with good people. Believe in
Positive-minded
yourself
people.
fundamentally. That's the first point. Once you believe in yourself, surround yourself with good people, people of great minds, people who would encourage you, and also have a reflection on those things that they have said. Try as much as possible to correct it if you can, and I believe you'll be able to navigate through it. Thank you very much.
All
Right.
right. Thank you very much. I'd like us to try as much as possible to identify some of the root causes of low self-esteem and self-confidence. Talking about parental influence, it has been often said that if charity begins at home, and if you grow up in an environment whereby your father and your mom are always having disagreement and it turns violent, it could also affect the child or the children's self-esteem. So, what can parents do? How can they help in building up that self-confidence, that self-esteem of their child?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me take from the wordings of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare once said that our country is what it is because our people are what they
They
are.
are.
So going straight to your question, we are a reflection of what we have passed through. When you see somebody trying in the society, when you see somebody championing good cause in the society, believe me, that person must have seen somebody within his or our immediate
Doing
environment
that.
doing that particular thing. So we are a reflection of what we have passed through over times. Parents should try. Parents, the Bible says that I'm very sorry, but the Bible says you should train your child so you can, I don't know how best to put it, but you train your child so that you have rest. If that's the best way to put it. Our parents should try as much as possible to train us properly. When you want to have disagreement, it is fine that we have disagreement in our homes. You try as much as possible that when you want to have this disagreement, you do not have it in front of your children. Your children sees these things. Most of the parents do not believe that, oh, children, the brain of children from
They
our
pick things a
century is
lot.
different from the way it used to be. We
Yeah.
learn so fast. That is why a child of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years will pick a laptop and operate it. A 5-year-old child will pick a tablet and operate it.
Yeah.
So they are seeing things happening in their environment, and this is how they will act by it. A recent happening that happened in Abuja, a few months ago, when we have a student beating another student, most
Yes.
people commented online that there is quite a huge probability that from that child's home, I'm not sure, it could not be true. It could be true that such child has seen something like that happening in his or her immediate environment. So we are a reflection of what we have passed through over times. So parents, when you want to have disagreement, you have the disagreement in a mature way. Have the disagreement not in front of your children. We should not you should never resort to domestic violence. I, as a person, I champion the cause of having the largest domestic violence campaign in Nigeria under 24 hours. Why? Because my own society where I grew up in more of a remote environment when you could wake up early in the morning going to school and you see one man beating his wife. In fact, in that society, you could see a woman beating her husband. These are things that when children grow up, if not by the grace of God, you learn to change the environment or you get to, personally build yourself. These are things that you continue to do because you believe this thing is the right thing to do. So parents should try as much as possible to have conversations, to have, better way of dispute resolution, and not doing this in front of their children. The children will grow to see this and they will grow to act by it.
All
Right.
right. What about peer pressure, societal influence? I mean, even social media, cyberbullying, and all that. What can we do? What can we do as a society to prevent or to build self-esteem?
One of those things, social media particularly has positive and negative influence.
Very
And
true.
this is one of those negative influence of social media. But anyone listening to me this moment, you realize that when you check through the tapestry, in the grand tapestry of things, when you check through social media, most people do not share their losses. Most people will never post, oh, I have not eaten today. Most people will not say, oh, I lost this contract I'm bidding for. Most people will not say this is the problem. When professionals, when you check through LinkedIn particularly, you realize that you go through LinkedIn today, you see somebody is posting, I just got admission
Oppression.
into Harvard, I just got into Oxford, my professor of this thing, my this and that. So you in your own, you definitely think low of yourself and try as much as possible to say,
What are you
am I not
doing?
doing enough? What is that thing that I'm not doing that this person is doing? So you have to ditch social media, in my own opinion. You should not put pressure on yourself. Yes, you should try as much as possible to do things that you can do, but you should not mount pressure on yourself and say, oh, this person just got into this place, I want to get into this place. You should try as much as possible to draw a line of dichotomy. There is reality, there is social media. Work at your own pace. Know what works for you. This is what works for me. Know it. Discover what you have passion for. These are things that I'm passionate about. Look for mentors in that area. Grow gradually. Let me tell you that there's a difference between a journey and a destination. Self-confidence, self-imagery, that is a journey and not a
Journey.
destination. In journey of life, there will be setbacks, there will be hurdles, there will be tasks, there will be challenges. But there is a need for us to believe that as persons, we can do it. We can overcome those challenges. We should not allow social media to, over pressure us. There's no pressure anywhere at all. So once
Right.
you personally do not pressure yourself, I believe you will be able to overcome social media pressure. Thank you.
Right. So you mentioned setbacks, which is a common thing with life. You can't go through life without having setbacks. Now, I would like to put this to you. What are some of the strategies or things that you advise for people to do to bounce back after suffering setback or some form of failure? What are some of the strategies that they can adopt that can also help their confidence and self-esteem and build
Um, thank,
resilience?
thank you very much. You would agree with me that most people who have suffered setback over times, it has a negative effect on, number one, their mental health. It has a negative effect on the way they think. It has a negative effect on how they do things. So number one thing first, which I'm going to prioritize, is your health, is your wealth. Once you have suffered setback in one step of your journey, it will have a toll on your mental health. Number one thing is to prioritize your own health in the way that, okay, you eat properly, you drink water when you're supposed to drink, you go to the gym when you're supposed to gym. You do all of these things that will first and foremost help your health.
But let me
After you might have
interrupt you
over.
for a bit, Ambassador Richard Solomon. You know, these things are things that we should do, yes. But if you put yourself in the shoes of someone that has suffered setback, it is not easy to actually do the normal things that you do after coming out from a setback or failure. So, I know that I'm supposed to eat, I know I'm supposed to drink water, but I just came back from a very bad failure or a setback. So how am I going to get myself into that space to do these normal things? It's not as though we don't know them, but
Okay,
how do
thank
you
you,
build
thank you.
yourself that way?
Thank you very much. I think what I would say in this stance is that number one, you see, when you are going through one challenge or the other, the people that you surround yourself with will have a great and high implication of what is going to become of you in the next couple of weeks or couple of months. Let's say you are staying in a place. One of those things that they advise people who have suffered setback, or people who are depressed, or people who are going through one issue or the other, is go out, talk to people about it. So number one, if you are a man, okay, you're a man, you have a family. Your family should be conducive enough to bear some of these problems that you are going through. but wherein you get to see people who talk to you over times, who talk to you about, okay, you can do this. Some of these things would help us. There's no way you wake up early in the morning, you see somebody talking to you, you see somebody advising you positively, not somebody adding to your problem, not somebody who is going to ignore you, not somebody who is going to neglect you. So one of those ways by which we can help somebody who has suffered setback is the person, if he or she is staying alone, try as much as possible to go out. You go out to talk to people, you go out to network with people. It's going to help you. Another way is, if it's your own personal house, make sure that that house is a place where you derive joy, not a place where you go back to, or you've been out since morning, you go back to that house, and that is where you even remember that, oh, you are going through one problem or the other. Your home should be conducive enough for you. Another thing that we can do as a person is, you are going through setbacks. Fine. But you should remember that before that setback, you have won some things for yourself. So you should celebrate little victories. Have a reflection on your life. Okay, personally, I have done this over time. For me to do this, I will be able to do more. For me to do this, I'll be able to do more. In the Bible, sorry, I'm taking a reference to the Bible. The book of Ecclesiastes says there's a time for everything, a time to plant, a time to harvest, a time to, a time to laugh, and sometimes a time to cry, not to put it, or not to talk about that in that way. But definitely it is not going to be a smooth journey. There is no way it's going to be a smooth journey. I remember last week I watched the interview with Femi Otedola, and he said at some point in time he lost some great billions of naira. That was a setback in his career. But does that mean he's back? No. He will definitely look at those things that he has achieved over time, and he's going to reflect on it. Those things are going to motivate him, and he will be, a conqueror at the end of the day.
Right. Just before we go, very quickly, we'll just ask this last question. What are some of the resources or tools that you would recommend? I know you'd say surround yourself with people that help you, people that speak
Greatly.
positively into your life, encourage yourself. I know that those things are as they ought to be, right? But how, or what are some of the tools you would recommend to someone that is further looking for self-confidence? Okay, I wake up every morning, I motivate myself, but I still don't feel great. There are people like that. Every day I have words of affirmation. I've even plastered it with sticky notes all over my room. I say it 100 times a day, but I still feel like something is missing, something is not right. What are some of those things you'd recommend in 30 seconds before we go?
Thank you very much. I'm going to be very practical as possible. As humans, we have established the fact that we are going to go through issues. One of those ways, practical ways, I'm going to, recommend for us. If you are the type that reads book, pick a book and read. Read books about that particular thing that you are going through. You are a businessman, you have suffered setback in your business. Pick a book that talks about, great people that have done that particular business, are successful in their career. Pick a book about them. There's a way that you read books, and it would have a positive toll on yourself. Another way that some people that has been proven over times that has helped people, is music. Some people believe music is therapy. They believe when they plug something into their ears, they are gone, they listen to that particular thing, it would have a positive, implication on them. So if you are the type that books work for you, read books. When you read book, people that read books do not just read book. They read that book, and they have a mental picture, a mental, imagery of that thing that is happening in the book. They have it in their life. And also people who listen to music that will be of help to you. So these are practical ways that I think we as persons can overcome those challenges that we are facing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Ambassador Richard Solomon. He's an Ecowas Youth Ambassador. It's been a delight speaking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, and you too.
All right.